One of the interesting things about financial planning and retirement planning is just how much the differences matter. Little differences can have a really big impact, and one of those differences is the province that you live in. Now, the province you live in can have a really big impact on your financial plan, and it's not necessarily about the difference in cost of living or the difference in average salary. Just the tax rates and the benefit rates alone can have a dramatic impact over time. Now, to show you exactly what I mean by the province having a really big impact, I'm going to show you a case study. So Marie and Dan, I'm going to show you a case study, and we're going to take Marie and Dan and we're going to move them from province to province, and we're going to see which province has the best impact on their financial plan and which province is the worst for their financial plan. And the results might surprise you. Okay, so we've got Marie and Dan's financial plan up here on the platform. I'm just going to walk you through some of the assumptions before we look at the actual projections for each province. So Marie and Dan, they have a combined household income of about $170,000 a year. It's split fairly evenly between the two of them. So net, they have about $14,000 in gross income each month. Net income about $10,000, and you can see how that's split here. So they've got a mortgage with about $210,000 remaining. Should be paid off right around retirement. They've got obviously, money for utilities, property tax, home repair, maintenance, vehicle upgrades and replacement. And they've also got their personal spending here. So miscellaneous, $1,000 a month, food, cleaning, staples, $800. And they're also saving about 20% of their income. So Marie and Dan, they don't have pensions, they don't have employer-sponsored retirement programs, so they're saving using RSPs and TFSAs for their own retirement, and it's about 20% of their net income at the moment. So let's take a look at their projections. Now this first one, we're in Ontario. We're going to switch the province as we go through from West Coast to East Coast. But let's take a look at Ontario. So Ontario looks quite good. So they're ending up with 1.4 million in their TFSA. They've decided to delay their CPP benefits until age 70. So their net worth, it does get drawn down in their 60s. They're retiring at age 60, so between 60 and 70, assets get drawn down, and then it flattens out and starts to go back up again. Now they're spending more in early retirement. So they're aiming to spend $97,000 a year in early retirement. And then as of age 80, they're going to drop down to about $80,000 a year. So travel goes down, maybe doctor, dentist, specialist goes up, but net, they're spending less after age 80. Now, overall, the success rate of their plan in Ontario is fairly good, 83%. So let's switch from province to province, going from West Coast to East Coast, and let's see how their financial plan changes as we change the province that they live in. So let's go over to your profile, and we're going to go from Ontario to British Columbia, and we're going to go back to projections, and we're going to see how their financial plan changes with the province now being in British Columbia. So here already we can see, so we've got tax of about $24,000 a year. In retirement, that drops to $19,000 a year. Their net worth is actually higher here in BC. So left over in their TFSA, they could have 1.6 million, and overall their success rate is higher. So actually BC looks to be better than Ontario already. Now there is a bit of chance of running out of money. So with their spending, there's a bit of chance of running out of the money in the future. But there's quite a bit of discretionary in those first 20 years of spending. So I think they have some room to cut back if necessary. And there's lots of upside here. So there's lots of potential to save more or maybe pay for long-term care costs in the future. So overall, BC looks quite good. Let's go back to profile and let's switch to Alberta. So let's run the projections for Alberta and take a look at how things change. Overall, we have spending taxes here, $27,000 a year. So already we can see taxes are a little bit higher for this situation, a little bit higher in Alberta than they were in BC. Same within retirement. We had 19,000. I think here we've got 21, 22. Spending's the same. Overall net worth, not quite as high. So we have here 1.3 million left in the TFSA, so some room to absorb extra expenses. And success rate's lower. So we had 87, now we're at 81%. So Alberta, not quite as good in this situation, not quite as good as BC. Let's take a look at the next province. Let's go to Saskatchewan. Take a look at the projections here for Saskatchewan. Now I suspect slightly higher taxes. So let's take a look. Yes, 30,000 in tax every year. So same exact income, but we've got 30,000 in tax every year. In retirement, we've got 24,000 in tax versus the 1921. Overall net worth is obviously lower as a result. So now we've got 1 million in the TFSAs at the end of the plan. So this is less than BC and Alberta and Ontario. And success rate takes a hit. So we've got a little bit more of a lower success rate because of the extra tax we're paying. More chance of running out of money as soon as or as early as age 70. Now let's go back here to profile. Let's switch to Manitoba. I think Manitoba might be a little bit worse than Saskatchewan. Let's take a look. I think tax rate's a little bit higher there. So overall, yep, a little bit higher tax rate. So 33,000 a year in tax. And then in retirement, early retirement, 27,000 a year. So that's going to have an impact on net worth. And we can see that here. So faster drawdown. No build up after. So even though expenses have gone down, everything just flatlines. And they've got 640,000 left in the TFSAs. So I think BC was around 1.6 million, if I remember right. Here in Manitoba, 600,000. $1 million difference at the end of the plan. Success rate takes a hit. So here, 65% success rate. Running out of money as early as age 70. Worst case, 10% scenarios, 76. So dramatically different versus BC, Alberta, Ontario. Let's take another look at Ontario here now that we've seen some other provinces. So in Ontario, we're going to take a look at the taxes. So lower here, so 26,000, but not quite as low as BC, I think. And 21,000 or so in early retirement. Net worth does go up, so 1.3 million. So a lot better than Manitoba. But not as good as BC. Overall success rate kind of in the middle there of BC and Alberta, but BC is still a little bit better. Profile, let's go to Quebec. Let's take a look at the projections for Quebec now. Quebec might be a little bit worse than BC and Alberta and Ontario. Yeah, a little bit higher tax here. So in their earning years, higher tax. In retirement, a little bit higher tax as well. Overall net worth, again, kind of flat lines after spending goes down. So 600,000 left in the TFSA in Quebec. Overall success rate, not as good. So 64% success rate. So almost 4 out of 10 historical periods would run out of money in the exact same situation in Quebec. Now profile, let's go to the East Coast. Let's start with New Brunswick here. Let's take a look at what the projections look like for New Brunswick. Now I suspect taxes might be a little bit higher. Not too bad, 32,000, 25,000 in retirement, so not quite as low. Overall net worth a little bit higher, so a little bit higher than Manitoba and Quebec. 860,000 left in the TFSA at the end of retirement, so that can absorb some extra costs there, or poor investment returns. So here, 70% success rate, 3 out of 10 historical periods run out of money, but 7 out of 10 are successful. So not too bad at all. Let's go from New Brunswick to Prince Edward Island. Let's see what it looks like here in the projections. Overall, let's take a look at income and tax first. So 35,000 tax now, 27,000 tax in the future. So a little bit higher tax. Overall net worth, 575,000. I think that's the lowest so far, if I remember right. 575,000 in PEI. Success rate 62%, also I think the lowest. Let's go back to profile. Let's go to Nova Scotia. Now Nova Scotia is notorious for higher tax rates, unfortunately. And we can definitely see that here. 38,000 a year pre-retirement. Taxes in retirement, almost 30,000 a year in retirement. Overall net worth is definitely the lowest at 403,000 in their TFSA at the end of the plan. Success rate 57%, so less than 6 out of 10 successful and 4 out of 10, more than 4 out of 10 running out of money in the future. And that's as early as age 69. Now last province, let's go to Newfoundland and Labrador. Let's take a look at the projections here. Now I think that might be a bit better than Nova Scotia. Yeah, a little bit better on taxes, 26,000 in retirement. Net worth, flat lines, 760,000 left in the TFSA. Success rate, 68%. So Nova Scotia seems to be the worst. And on the other side of the country, BC seems to be the best for this situation. Now, as you can see, the details are extremely important when creating a financial plan. If just the change in province can have such a dramatic impact on Marie and Dan's financial plan, imagine what it could do if we were to look at tax planning, benefit planning, different levels of income or savings, paying off the mortgage or other debt faster or slower. Imagine if we did some more strategic planning for Marie and Dan's financial plan, how big an impact that could have. When it comes to financial planning, it's always important to have a custom financial plan built for your specific situation. As you can see, the details matter a lot, so you want to make sure you have a financial plan that works for you. What works for you might not work for your friend, what works for your friend might not work for a neighbor, and what works for a neighbor might not work for a sibling who lives in another province. So it's always important to have a financial plan that is specific to you, that is custom to you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.